r/askreddit. What is a subtle sign that someone is really intelligent?
They can ask really good questions.
How does a person learn how to ask good thought-provoking questions?
Ah, you were so close.
When they explain something, they make you feel intelligent.
This, so underrated. Smart people never bother showing off that they are smarter. Instead, they end up pulling up the IQ of everyone around them in the room a few notch, and do it in a manner that no one feels belittled.
Explaining something complex is simple terms. Knowledge is so vast that they can talk about in the easiest way for someone else to understand.
Gauging the best explanation for a particular audience does seem to be a sophisticated type of intelligence.
It's a skill that can be developed too. It takes a kind of self-awareness, which I believe to be connected with intelligence. But once you recognize the importance of the skill and how to simplify it, you are much better in your craft.
People who use analogies to explain concepts to others. It's a form of code. Switching and integrating concepts on the fly is a clear indicator someone is both socially and conceptually intelligent.
I was struggling to explain 3D printing to my elderly neighbour without visual aids. My younger friend pipes up, pretend you're sculpting a castle out of hot glue. Think of how you'd do it, layer by layer. I was so awed at her ability to pull a simple analogy that would work for the old woman. But my friend is a polyglot, a translator by trade, so I shouldn't have been surprised, I suppose.
Being a polyglot is another good indicator.
They spend time thinking before asking a question.
They can genuinely consider an idea which opposes their worldview without necessarily accepting it.
I've got a bone or two to pick with Aristotle, but I can vibe with his misquoted. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought and not accept it.
Wasn't this F. Scott Fitzgerald? The test of a first-rate intelligence is the ability to hold two opposing ideas in mind at the same time and still retain the ability to function. One should, for example, be able to see that things are hopeless yet be determined to make them otherwise.
They can switch up the way they talk to match the person they're talking to without sounding condescending. They listen to how others learn and explain it in that person's language of understanding.
The Wire scene about gangbangers learning how to play chess comes to mind here somehow.
They aren't afraid to say they don't know the answer to a question.
They know when their knowledge ends and say something to the extent of I don't know, and anything else I say on this topic is ignorant speculation.
They admit to changing their mind about something.
I think that's more a sign of maturity and humility. Plenty of really intelligent people are also stubborn as fuck.
People need to stop assuming that intelligence is all-consuming. It's not only possible but common to be very intelligent in one way and very ignorant in another. Look at all the engineers who have zero social interaction ability. Or conversely, all the very popular and attractive entertainers who can't figure out how to turn their iPhones on.
They effortlessly communicate complex concepts in a simple way.
My father-in-law is very smart. Went to MIT and Caltech, founded and sold several businesses, published books that are still in circulation, holds several patents, and now is working in the immunotherapy space. Anyway, I'm just a typical Midwestern State College grad, and the things I've learned about cancer and the various treatments from him are amazing. These are technical, medical, biological concepts that I could learn if I read 100 books, but he can somehow explain them in such a simple and relatable terms, I feel like I really understand. It's a gift of genius.
I think what's important is some people are deathly afraid of simplification, because there are always experts that will tell you you're wrong. But simplification is incredibly important in explaining concepts to people. You build rules that are applicable 75% of the time. Then you teach the exceptions. So many people out there start with the exceptions first, and it's so clear they've never had to formally instruct anyone in anything. Speaking as someone that gets roped in to explain every board game to others, even the ones I haven't played.
They can follow the plot of Kingdom Hearts without needing any line graphs or charts.
That's a damn lie.
They are curious about everything. To be intelligent, you need to be knowledgeable, and you can be knowledgeable if you are never curious.
You can memorize a bunch of random facts and repeat them. That's knowledge. But knowing what to do with that knowledge, how to apply it, how to make sense of it, is what I think fence of it, is what I think Oriel intelligence is. Richard Feynman captured that mindset perfectly in his book.
Admitting when they're wrong and being willing to learn from mistakes.
I feel like this is more the wisdom stat than intelligence.
Depends on your application of that statement. Someone can be factually wrong and learn, while that same person can also be experientially wrong and learn from it.
They say they love learning and they learn something new every day. Then they listen more than talk.
Yes, and they ask questions about new topics that come up in conversation, rather than seem threatened that the conversation left their domain, and their questions are thoughtful.
I think intelligent people are more willing to calmly debate/discuss rather than argue. Like, you explain to them why you disagree, and they listen to you and ask further questions about your viewpoint before offering a different perspective, as opposed to an unintelligent person who would just resort to insults when other people disagree with them.
Someone had a different political view as me, and I was trying to genuinely listen to them. Then, they made fun of me for going to Uvu, unlike their top 100 school, and I knew it was hopeless.
They draw wisdom from multiple sources. Wait, but that might be more wise than intelligent. But I guess those two tend to be seen together a lot.
It is important to draw wisdom from many different places. If we take it from only one place, it becomes rigid and stale.
Hero! You make me proud.
Humor. I think that truly funny people are often very smart and cognizant of the different ways an idea can be humorous on several levels. They also know their audience. I think the difference between, say, Jeff Foxworthy and a Dave Chappell and a Bo Burnham is their audience and their interests.
You need a wide knowledge base of reference material to make a lot of comedic connections. If someone is really quick-witted with jokes, they're probably a genius in some way, even if they don't realize it.
There was a huge discussion on this very topic on the comedian Christopher Titus's podcast a week or two ago. It was utterly fascinating listening to him talk about the technical side of comedy, how much he has to keep up with current events in order to make jokes about them, etc.
Talking to people as if they're intelligent, at their level, and without being condescending or even letting on that it's lower than their level. I used to work with a doctor, Tom Howard, and the day I realized he was a genius was the time he guessed every single condition a patient of mine had based on minute pieces of information about him.
Let me guess, it's not lupus.
No, it's Tom Howard.